well. Look at what we have here. A bunch of real fucking jokers. A bunch of real fucking smart guys. It's kind of hard to see. Like tonight is very bright. It's a very bright night tonight. Like the moon is very much full. You eating melon seeds? Yeah, having a nice fire back here is always feels nice. Might pull myself a little closer here in a minute. Probably going to be a little quieter than I usually am too. There's really no need or a reason for it. Like no need for me to be quieter than I usually am. But I almost feel like a church-like atmosphere out here tonight with the sun up. I saw some crazy shit today, guys. Dinor went tearing off into the yard chasing something, and I figured it was a stray cat, right? He goes, you know, does his thing, runs out that way. Then he comes running back this way, and he's chasing something, and me and Amelia are looking at it, and it looks like a cat. And then all of a sudden, we notice that's not a fucking cat. That's a squirrel. It was. I don't know if you guys have ever heard squirrels called boomers. My mom calls this particular type of squirrel a boomer. It's like a red squirrel, and typically they don't come around the area where I live. They're like more mountainous and foothill squirrels, but this motherfucker was like 3 times the size of a normal squirrel, like at least, right? And so Dinor chases it, and we're like, whoa, look at the size of that fucking squirrel. So Dinor chases it, and it runs around to the front side of the yard, right? And so we're sitting back here trying to be lazy to get Dinor to come to us without going and getting him. Going, Dinor, Dinor. I fucking walk around the front of the house, and this is before night, right? This was like evening, like the sun was going down. I walk around to the front of the house, and there's Dinor standing by the fucking fence, and in the street, a fucking huge coyote just standing there, looking like a wolf, looking like a straight out wolf. And when I started to approach, my neighbor that's directly across the street from me, across that road, has like a stucco wall around his property. I shit you not, that fucking coyote jumped on top of that wall and sat there like a cat. That wall had to be at least like 4.5, 5 feet tall. Coyote just goes like, shoop, jumps up there like a gargoyle, and he's like watching me. And I was like, whoa. Holy fuck. So Dinor was not coming out tonight because the fucking coyotes were literally hunting in our yard, in our fucking neighborhood. It was crazy, man. You so rarely get to see a coyote like do anything other than like maybe scoot across the road when you're driving or something. So to see one like move, they're so not dogs. You know what I mean? Like they're not wolves either. It's like you get this idea about canines, wild canines, that they're all just basically like dogs or wolves. Dude, fucking, that was neither dog nor wolf. That is a highly specialized creature. Just really cool to look at, but pretty scary to walk around the front of my house and see Dinor like 20 feet from a coyote. So Definitely gonna have to keep a better eye on him out here at night. Yeah, it was like one of those like I have these moments with nature, you know what I mean? Where it's like I saw him standing there and I froze and he froze and he was looking right at me. And I looked right at him and I had one of those moments of like, oh wow. And then he moved. He slunk away a little bit and I thought he was gonna run. But then he jumped up on top of that wall and just perched there looking at me. And the way he was sitting, it was so undog-like. He was sitting like a cat, perched on top of that wall and looking at me. It was fucking crazy, man. See, I'm really glad that I perceive nature in the way that I do, because those moments are lost on some people. Not me. Like I see the portent and the meaning behind those things, even if there is none. So those of you that followed the stream this morning weren't able to catch the live stream on DFF today. I pitched my no confidence strategy and it was received pretty much like I expected it to be received. Like TJ, I think, responded in a way that I found pretty predictable, and I get the feeling that it'll be the way that a lot of people will respond to me, which is calling the tactic ineffectual while admitting that their own tactic is ineffectual, but then claiming that they have to do their tactic because nobody has a plan. I mean, that's really going to be it. Oh, and it's starting to happen too. This beautiful fucking thing is starting to happen. All the people, and this is going to, you guys are going to see a lot of this in the coming months and years from me. A lot of this very self-same people who called me too lazy to vote are now going to be really mad that I'm not voting for the people that they want me to vote for. So once again, proving that it was never about me voting or not voting. So that's already started to happen. Tons of comments. Basically just moving the goalposts now that I've decided that I'm going to vote in every election. Love it. And it's like, dude, I got to tell you guys, man, maybe this is like a dangerous way to look at things. But when I see people react the way that TJ did today and the way that people are reacting in the comments and the general community besides, I know I'm onto something. Like corporate centrist Dems have a bee in their bonnet about this shit. This fucking thing struck them immediately in the way that I wanted it to. How do you vote? How do you argue against it? How do you look at a person that tells you that they plan on and will back up voting in every fucking election going on out? How do you look over their shoulder in the voting booth? And how do you stop them from doing exactly what you do? Advocating for whatever vote they feel is right and being very fucking boisterous about what vote they made. Yeah, TJ called Scotty a centrist because Scotty sat and listened and considered the arguments. When TJ's the one making centrist arguments. That was a pretty fun part. Vote for Pedro. Vote for Pedro. Vote for Pedro. Paul, how can you trust American public to support your conclusion? I don't. I trust that some of the 40 to 45 to 50% of people that stay home for local, state, and national elections might listen to me and start voting. But I don't think the general public is going to listen to my fucking strategy and run with it. I never claimed that I thought that. God damn it. These fucking letters, man. I'm gonna drive me insane. Their very existence drives me insane. I think Hillary and Trump are laughing behind closed doors, of course. To be honest, Paul, what's the theme of the ritual tonight? I don't know, buddy. That's right, Cosmic Spider. No confidence, party line. No confidence, no confidence, no confidence. Party line, no confidence. I like how if you try and explain how neoliberalism is bad, they call you a tanky. Or they pretend that they know it, but fall back on the, but Republicans less bad, and think that they're actually, like TJ said today, unironically, that his vote for Joe Biden cyclically strategy is a strategy to slay the DNC dragon. So in order to slay the DNC dragon, we have to keep feeding it. It just falls apart. Like the whole position falls apart. Like live. And it's got people capital M molding in the chat. You got to go read it. Those of you who enjoy it, go read the fucking comments on the latest DFF show. Oh my God, it has them worried, which makes me feel so fucking good. It's got them scratching their heads, trying to find ways to call me a fucking do nothing or a LARPer or whatever the fuck. Oh my God, it's great. It was a really good idea. Had exactly the reception that I wanted it to. Immediate incredulity, immediate bad faith arguments. Oh, it just came out of the woodworks immediately. Why would they call you a LARPer? Because they're literally afraid that this is going to catch on, even in a small way, amongst the left. And they're going to have to work harder making the shitty argument for harm reduction the next cycle that comes around, because I'm in the community. You can tell. It's like fear. I was reading it tonight, and people are saying all kinds of like just ridiculously insulting things about me. Paul's got like a childish philosophy. Paul just doesn't understand politics. 41-year-old man doesn't understand politics, but this 20-year-old in the chat that voted for Joe Biden does, right? I'm reading that shit, and like I know what those things are intended to do. Like make me feel unstable, make me feel like angry, or make me feel like I failed today. Dude, they had the exact opposite effect. As well they should. I started reading those and I was like, whoa, fear. Holy shit. The centrist libs just looked up from brunch for a second when I mentioned this. Dude, it feels amazing. Feels absolutely amazing. TJ's reaction tonight felt amazing. Oh my God. Watching him make argument after argument after argument for the status quo and then watching it fall apart and still making the argument. Oh my God, it was perfect. And then the chat is just absolutely 100% maulding. Go read it, dude. It's so fucking good. Oh man. Where can you find this? On the Deep Fat Fried channel, our latest show. Me and TJ went head to head for about an hour on this. And Paul loves seeing people pretend that their participation is all that's stopping fascism from sweeping the lands. I know, dude, but I'm the LARPer, though. Out of the way, LARPer. Our sword protects the land from fascism. Verily, we shall not allow the R's to win yet another cycle. We protect the land. It's because it was never about direct action, Perfect Jack, ever. It was about solidifying the status quo and making money while doing it. It was never about lifting a finger to do a mutual aid benefit, or it was never about lifting a finger to fucking actually change anything or take any direct action. It was always about legitimizing the Biden administration so that they could pretend that they did their civic duty. Just like I said right before the fucking election, all the way in the lead up to the election. This is a panacea for people on the left to get to feel like they're doing something without actually having to take a hard stand and make hard decisions and risk the dark. This is the way that liberals parse their cowardice, by pretending that they're doing some great revolutionary action by voting for their own oppressors, and then talking a big game about how, like, this is only step one. Step two is insane participation and insane mutual aid and insane extra fucking political participation. And then they just sit and talk about the fucking Republicans and Democrats all day. This was always what it was about. I mean, not utter darkness. There is a little bit of light. George Carlin talked about this exact shit decades ago. Yep. But for some reason, now that it's coming out of my mouth and it's parsed differently and it's got a tactic attached to it, everybody's fucking freaking out. Oh man, it's great. Those comments are just going to get greater too. It's one of those things. I'm going to check the comments on that. I'm going to be like sorting by new for days. Every one of those paragraphs is like an endorsement of what I'm doing, because I'm not looking to make friends. I'm looking to sow fucking discord. And oh my God, this got people spooked. They were like, wait a minute, what? Oh, now you're voting now? But not the way I want you to vote? Oh, fucking LARPer. Fucking LARPer. 100% insane, bro. But an honest to goodness fucking sign that this actually has the potential to get momentum. Watching TJ talk about the lesser of two evils has me think he forgets both sides are still evil. He yelled it today. Like during our conversation today, he literally yelled at me like, I know that they are both evil. Quit arguing with me about whether or not I know that they are both evil. And I was like, if you're both evil, why are you still participating? Because one is slightly less evil. I was just like, gotcha. Gotcha. Oh my God, dude, people are so mad. People are so mad. People were so mad watching him be pushed into that corner. TJ tonight during the conversation basically admitted that he doesn't give a shit about anybody that's not an American as well. That was a hot take that everybody really liked for some reason. I'm not a Haitian. I'm not a fucking Syrian. Don't you think as a leftist that your political action ought to take into consideration the feelings of those people? I do take their feelings into consideration, just not on this. Well, He also isn't a Native American or a black person or a Hispanic or an immigrant or an indigent person. First one to yell is the one losing. Wrong. Wrong. Nathaniel, go get a profile pic and don't come back till you have one. It's your last warning. If I see you again, you're going to be banned. Your comment is also very childish and has nothing to do with what's being talked about in the chat. So I would recommend that you keep those to yourself as well after you get the profile pic. This is an 18+ stream. Just sad, man. TJ's okay with war crimes so long as LGBT people feel comfy at home. They don't even feel comfy. That's the funny thing. They pretend they feel comfy, but they don't. They have no reason to feel comfy. They're still at the bottom strata of the fucking economic ladder. They're still at the bottom strata of the social ladder. Trans people are still fucking functionally priced out of being able to get treatment for their gender dysphoria or treatment for their transition. Like, they're not. They're not better off. Yeah, this whole like first person to yell loses thing is such a fucking Zoomer argument. It's such a debate bro argument. Are you mad, bro? Are you mad, bro? Yes, I'm mad. Got him. Got him, folks. Got him. Anarcho-Bidenism. What a meme. Of course me and TJ. Dude, did you go watch the episode? We had a knockdown, drag-out political disagreement for about an hour and then went on to do another hour and 20 minutes of laughing together. Like, this idea that people can't politically disagree and remain friends is just ridiculous. Like, it makes me kind of sad that so many people ask me that, because it lets me know that the people asking that functionally probably don't have a friend. It's questionable if Biden is actually the lesser of two evils in the first place. Of course it is. It's ultimately questionable, not in the mind of people like TJ and lesser of two evils voters and Vosh and BreadTube, though. The very insinuation that Biden might actually be bad for the very people we claim to care about causes instant anger, instant incredulity, and instant character assassination against whoever's saying it, even though it's the goddamn motherfucking straight up truth. Go figure that, huh? fire needed another log. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, allergies. Oh, allergies. Okay. Biden exceeded expectations, bro. He exceeded expectations, bro. It's just that they had no expectations for him in the first place. That's how he exceeded expectations, and that's how leftism is going to win. By letting our expectations be exceeded by do-nothings. And clapping like a bunch of fucking circus seals every time somebody says it. Legitimizing the very person that you said was a fucking piece of shit. It's Obama all over again. These people learned nothing. Yeah. Agreed. And it's cyclical too. It's like every time it happens, every time there's a Republican administration, everybody forgets what comes after. Whoa, those coughs don't sound good. I'm smoking weed, bro. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. Oh. I'm gonna ban you. I'll see you later. Hey, it's Goebbels or Goring, man. We gotta go. One of them's gonna be president. May as well vote for Goring, man. You want Goebbels to have another fucking cycle, dude? It's fucking grade school level politics. People will type up whole fucking novellas defending it too, and pass each other ass pats and props. It's fucking, it's the cutest fucking thing, dude. These people will be on my side in less than 5 years. A significant amount of these people will be doing exactly what I'm doing or some variation of it in 5 years. And you know what the fucking most annoying part of it is? They'll think they came to it on their own. Everybody's so resistant. Because everything's got to be okay. It's that monkey brain of like, if I admit that Paul's right and that there is no choice on the ballot for us and that my participation is legitimizing global degradation, then nothing is okay. Nothing is okay while I sit here at my house and pretend that I did something. Nothing is okay as I sit here and flip through all the bread tubers. And that can't be right. Everything has to be okay. So everything is okay. Because we made the cold, calculating best decision given the two choices that are foisted upon us. And we as leftists and revolutionaries, we're supposed to accept that. That's what leftism is. Accepting having your choices made and fed to you. and defending that system. That's what a leftist does. I do have one issue with your idea. I think the Democrats lost all power and Republicans still find a way to pass the blame. How would you prevent the blame shifting? You provide a party that actually pushes back against the Republicans and doesn't support them at every turn. Once the DNC is no longer viable, you pour your leftist energy into the creation of a new Labor Party in the United States, one that directly challenges the narrative of Republicans trying to pass the buck and actually delivers on the promises that they make to the American people. Something like that. Something like that. Mansion, one dude held up our wage hike. Why didn't we hold it up as well? Because we never had any intention of passing a wage hike. Quote, nothing will fundamentally change under my administration. Biden to his donors. Didn't TJ argue that we should nuke North Korea? But yeah, not voting is the real evil. I don't know. I don't remember if TJ argued that we should nuke North Korea. I don't remember that. Everyone acts or plays dumb if Paul is making some Paul is making some advanced mathematical equation, whether it's on purpose or to ignore his arguments. It makes me think that he's on the right point with what he says. Yep. Yep. I would have been way more nonplussed today if I looked at the fucking comments and I saw a bunch of people like, yeah, Paul's right, Paul's right, Paul's right. Because I would know that that probably just represents people that watch me anyway. But instead, I kicked a bee right into the bonnet of shit libs today. And they are fucking going crazy over it. Absolutely. And they don't know how to respond to it, you can tell. And so it's just straight up character assassination, repetition of the same argument, even though my tactics have completely changed towards what they wanted me to do. Like all these people were screaming, just vote, Paul, just vote. Why don't you just vote? Why don't you just vote? Now that I'm voting, I'm not voting right. The goalposts are moving in real time. It's really got people fucking confused and angry. You can tell that it had TJ confused and angry today. Because every time he brought up one of his weak little fucking like defenses of voting for the shit lib, I actually countered it with a question that illustrated reality. Like, how is life different for a Haitian immigrant? I don't care. I'm not a Haitian immigrant. Gotcha. How's life different for a Native American living on their land and watching the North Dakota access pipeline be built through it against their wishes? Well, I'm not a Native American. Gotcha. How do you think a Syrian feels living in the fucking city where a bunch of bombs fell and knowing that any second of any day those bombs could fall again? You think they're better off because of Biden? Well, I'm not a fucking Syrian. Gotcha. I care about here. I care about what we can do here. Gotcha. Scratch a fucking lib, find a leftist. What episode did you talk about it in? We talked about it tonight on Deep Fat Fried in the most recent episode. The most recent video on the channel. His point about Democratic and Republican cities was pathetically hilarious. Fell apart immediately.
He was like, yeah, take a look at Democrat cities and Republican cities and how functionally they are run different.
And I was like, how is it? So you mean like LA?
Yeah.
LA, where there's an unprecedented amount of people sleeping under fucking overpasses?
Uh, uh,
Then he goes like, yeah, the whole dragon analogy. I loved that. I loved how that fell apart too.
I'm willing to fucking do anything if somebody's actually got a plan to kill the dragons.
I do.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
All right, what's your plan?
Kill one dragon first and then kill the other one.
Well, that's our plan.
Okay. He compared Republican towns to Democratic cities, which didn't make any sense. It was a really, really bad take. It was just a really bad attempt to legitimize an argument that blew up in his face. TJ was doing major mental gymnastics about the tax argument. He kept saying Biden did not lower it. Yeah, I know. He seems so fucking confused by the idea that Biden functionally took the tax rate from 35 to 25%.
Well, wasn't Biden that lowered it?
Yeah, but it was Biden that chose not to raise it back to the fucking original rate that it was the last time the fucking left wing was in party, right?
Well, yeah, but that doesn't mean he lowered it. It was Trump that lowered it.
Yeah, he just locked it in.
No, he raised it.
No, he didn't. He functionally lowered it over the course of one cycle.
Harm reduction, though.
I know I'm not right now. I know that this tactic was a good idea. It needs a little work. I'm gonna have to figure out some different ways to present it, work on my arguments a little bit, but the immediate reaction to it today tells me that I am on the path. This was the right thing to do. This has sown confusion and anger. Well, that's a funny point, Perfect Jack, because like he said like
We don't have time for your strategy.
but we do have time to just continuously cyclically re-elect shitlibs. I love it. I love it, dude. I love when arguments turn impotent live. And it wasn't even really TJ's reaction that was the most gratifying to me. It's the chat. The comment section is a gold mine of cope right now.
Paul's an idiot. Listening to Paul is insufferable. Blah, 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 blah.
Just everything under the sun, but engaging in the actual argument.
TJ just absolutely dismantled and handed Paul his ass on every point. It was hilarious.
C to the O to the P to the E. Hard coping in the chat. Hard, like,
Hey, tribe. Does anyone else feel like TJ won? Anybody? Yeah, dude, me.
hard lefty tribal coping. Hard, what do I do with this argument coping? Hard, I have no way to refute this argument, and TJ didn't do a very good job of it, and I'm definitely not as smart as TJ coping. So let's attack Paul's character. Let's attack Paul's positions. Let's move the goalpost now that Paul has agreed to vote, and look over his shoulder in the voting booth and tell him how to do it. I think you need to hone in on convincing people your short-term and long-term strategy. I mean, I'm open to listening to how I should do that other than telling them what my short-term and long-term strategy is, because it seems like as soon as I do that, people want to misunderstand, misconstrue, or outright dismiss it. When I tell them that my short-term strategy is to empower people that don't vote to have a voice in the electoral system again, and to provide a metric by which we can start measuring how many people have lost confidence in both sides of our false binary, and to give people an option other than voting cyclically for their own oppressor. Those are my stated goals. Those are my long-term goals. If we're successful enough, the DNC may become completely and utterly inviolable, and the powers that be behind it will be forced to come to the table with the people. Who's bootlicking? Who's bootlicking in the comments, bro? You know what bootlicking is? The rich are not coming to any table. The rich plan on doing what Gene Hackman did to the ants in the movie Ants. Do I sometimes feel that this is a one-party system? No, it's a functioning collaborative duopoly. So you understand it's a little more complex than just a fake left party and a fake right party. It is a somewhat genuine right party and a somewhat genuine center right party that legitimize one another and provide a release valve for people to feel like they're doing something by voting for one or the other or switching their vote between the two. It's a way to manufacture consent amongst the populace, to give them two quote-unquote choices that are really not choices at all. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Vote for Joe Biden for harm reduction, still building the wall. Vote for Joe Biden for harm reduction, still deporting massive amounts of people. Vote for Joe Biden for harm reduction, still paying fucking billions of dollars to Raytheon. Vote for Joe Biden for harm reduction, still dropping bombs on the Middle East. Vote for Joe Biden for harm reduction. Hey, he's removing some troops from Afghanistan maybe, but he's replacing them with private mercenaries. You know what I mean? Until the stinking hypocrisy of it just gets too much for people to continue to defend. And then they end up with me. And then they come to me. They all have class solidarity against the working class openly. They are all pals when they have to get their get-togethers. It's a big club and you're not in it. Yep. Building up troops presence on Russia's border, building up naval presence around China and in the South Pacific. Yeah, Joe Biden's a real harm reducer. Your dragon analogy was way better. Starve it rather than feed it. Yeah.
But then, if you starve the blue dragon, then there won't be anything for the red dragon to fight.
They don't fight.
Yes, they do.
No, they don't. They collude. They work hand in glove. One of them does something tyrannical and the other comes along and legitimizes it and doesn't walk it back. They work hand in glove. They work together. They collude for the same fucking purposes.
Well, that's true.
Okay. So didn't your argument just fall apart?
No, because
Okay. No, it is. It really is a good cop, bad cop routine, and people are falling for it at the national level politically. The fucking Republican comes in and goes like,
you know what, asshole? All the gays are going to camps.
and then you go,
Whoa, oh God.
and then the Democrat comes in and goes like,
All right, hey, have a sip of water, okay? Listen, that guy can be pretty hot-headed, but listen.
it's the old fucking good cop, bad cop. The old rope-a-dope, dude. And TJ knows that too. TJ knows that the false rancor that is presented on the face of it in front of the news media melts away in dingy bars in DC after hours. He knows it. He's said as much before, but today in the fucking argument we had, he pretended like he'd forgotten, or pretended like he never knew it in the first place. But Paul, Trump is an existential threat to that democracy we don't have. Yep. Dogs debating in the background. That's a coyote patrol. That's not. I mean, those are dogs barking, but that is indicative of a small hunting group of coyotes in that direction over there, probably about a mile away from me, slinking around the edges of somebody's property who has an outside dog or two. So being brutally honest, what kind of time scale generally would you expect for a significant social conscious shift to affect change? Assuming one happens, 20 years, give or take. If you're gonna have me take a stab at it, I'd say about 20 years. Just tired of it, man. Trump is gone, and we have the stories on Reddit, or all the stories on Reddit are still about him. Yeah, I know. Well, that's what I'm advocating for now. I'm advocating for people to participate directly as best they can, but to eschew giving that participation to politics. In the big thread that I wrote up today and in the talk today, I encourage people to donate money instead of to the DNC candidate. Donate money to a local fucking nonprofit or a regional mutual aid org. Let everybody know that you did so. Let everybody know that the $5 that you probably would have given to a DNC candidate went elsewhere instead. Do that as often as you can. You know. Yes. Feels nice, man. This fire is kicking. That feels better. AOC raised like 200K in 5 hours. Curious as to why no one does that to benefit any actual direct action organization. I know I said it earlier, but squad members that really cared about workers would use that fundraising ability constantly. Yeah, well, that's because AOC is a better Twitter personality and disaster fundraiser than she is a congressperson. She's actually rated recently by a bipartisan, non-profit, non-partisan organization to fucking as one of the least effective members of Congress. Like, unequivocally, one of the worst. She's worse than useless. She's good at Twitter clapbacks. She's good at fucking presenting a social media face, and good at fundraising for disasters. Maybe she should just make a career doing that and get the fuck out of Congress. Well, I mean, to be frank with you, the kid, like, the sudden amnesia is not just a symptom that TJ's displaying. It's a symptom that pretty much everybody that's taking TJ's tact is displaying, and that's most people on the left right now. There seems to be a functional cognitive breakdown when you present to them how the cycle locks in Republican changes and how the liberals and shit are required for that. It's like they understand it, they process it, and then they immediately, instead of going like, huh, yeah, their mind goes, how do I fight this? Yeah, well, one dragon is less evil than the other. That's the argument. That there are literally like 100 comments on our newest video applauding TJ for making. That one is 0.02% less evil than the other, and that's the best that we can do as leftists. Welp. Welpy, welpy, welp, welp. I love how all the people calling me a LARPer right now referred to themselves as anarcho-Bidenists during the run-up to this election. Purchased Biden fucking merch. But I'm the LARPer. I'm the guy throwing fucking packets of bird seed wrapped in cloth and saying, magic missile, magic missile. They're not looking at the long arm of history and seeing the similarities. That was another thing that happened today during the conversation. Like TJ was like, what I'm hoping for is that we make slow change and then eventually get, like, you know, the left in power all the time. And I was like, when has that ever happened in the history of the United States, minus LBJ, who was literally the most progressive president we ever had and invented the fucking social safety net in this country?
Well, that's the only one I can think of.
Whoops. Good morning, Paul. Good morning, I guess. Like, I hate when people say good morning to me and it's like fucking 2 a.m. This is not morning. Yeah, FDR, sorry. Same diff. It's all recent history too. Yeah. How's Frankie McDonald doing for you up there in Nova Scotia? He's still keeping you abreast of the weather?
This is Frankie McDonald, my own TV station live here in Sydney, Nova Scotia. Major winter storm heading from Sydney, Nova Scotia. It's gonna bring wind, sleet, rain. It's gonna bring hail, treacherous driving conditions.
Best weatherman in the world right there. I love Frankie too. You think Nancy Pelosi will ever retire? She'll retire to her fucking crypt eventually. But I don't think she'll retire before that. Take a look at fucking... You want to know somebody that's even more of a vampire than Nancy Pelosi that nobody talks about anymore? Look at Dianne Feinstein from California. That woman has been in power since I was a fucking literal newborn. She's like 87 now and still serving the Congress. Still shit living it up in the Congress after fucking like a 60-year career. It's fucking insane. She was forced off of councils because she had dementia. Yep, but still gets elected. Because there's no fucking standard anymore. Because she'll nod her head and vote however she's told. And because she's got name recognition. Ugh. Age limits, yep. Age limits and term limits, please. It should be illegal to be that old. No, it's fine to be that old. It, however, should be like against the rules to be that old and addled and serving in the American government. Think about the fucking power that seat could have, and it's occupied by an old woman with dementia who votes however the party line tells her to and has her entire career. Think about just that one seat and how much power and disruption that it could cause. And it sits in the hand of an 80-year-old fucking mummy. Imagine having a 95-year-old anything. Bus driver, doctor, lawyer, right? AOC clearly wants that power. She'll get it too. She'll get it because now she's playing the power game. She learned that you don't get power lest you suck the dick. Can you legally force someone to retire? Absolutely. Corporations used to have a standing, requirement. There was, I believe it was in the United States, it was 65 was the mandated retirement age. And it was for this very reason that we're talking about. Because after 65, people start to cognitively decline, start to get grouchy and impulsive, and are not good for business. And so that used to be the so-called golden parachute age in corporations. Now, to be fair, that is no longer the case in most corporations. That practice has been stopped. But it was a practice that went on for a good 100 years here in the United States as a standard practice of business here and in Europe. In Europe, it's still way more prevalent, actually, for there to be a mandatory retirement age for CEOs and high-ranking executives. So, no, it is 100% not illegal to force somebody to retire from their job at a certain age. Citizens used to argue for a better age limit. Now it's just some memory. Well, everything's a memory because it's all been flushed down the toilet of lesser of two evilism. It's all been flushed down this fucking endlessly swirling toilet that is electoralism and lesser of two evilism. Voting for your oppressor and then legitimizing them by arguing for them and continuing to argue for them. I don't know about, you're talking over my head with the crypto shit. I don't pretend to understand it. Another good morning, dude. I love it. I guess if you're on the East Coast, it's like morning, but fuck. It's still the dead ass of fucking night here. There's no morning to be had here. I would love to see TJ do a long form video examining the discussions today. I don't think he will. I don't think TJ wants to have that conversation again with me. He'll probably end up having it at some point, but I'm not going to foist it on him. Tangent real quick. Any thoughts on modern monetary theory? All this money printing, well, it helps people. Won't that have effects? Of course. I mean, it's not even in controversy that it has effects. Inflation and the devaluing of the dollar versus other currencies are one of the most absolutely tangible and inexcusable effects of the constant printing of money and the lack of a standard that money is based on. America has operated on fiat currency now for most of its existence, or at least since the I think, when did we drop the gold standard? 1910, something like that? 1915? Hello, darling. Nice to see you. It's been a long time. Wait until you get starting called a red fascist. I don't know if that's happened to you yet, Paul. Yep, that started happening to me like really often a few weeks ago, actually. Like, I went a long time without being called a tanky, but I made a take on the Uyghur genocide, and that was all it took. And now I'm a tanky. So yeah. Red fash. Yep, I've got the merit badge for being called everything. I have literally been falsely labeled as pretty much every kind of political stripe that a person can be. love it, man. Labels are a fun way to red letter people out of the discussion when you're just disagreeing in good faith. Yep. But I'm used to it though. Like people started throwing this tanky shit at me like I haven't been a leftist for longer than they've been fucking politically aware. You know what I mean? They started throwing these fucking newfangled. Well, I know that honestly, tanky isn't a newfangled form of leftism, but they started throwing these like brand new internet words at me and shit a long time ago. It's just part of the tactic of trying to delegitimize opposition and manufacture consent for a shitty, cyclical, do-nothing fucking political stance. Anytime I'm called something I'm not in a political setting, I always think of a Red Man song called I'll Be That. You should look it up. The Way I Am's another good example, but I like the Red Man song. My first name must be Fuck You, 'cause every time I'm in the club, bitches be like, Fuck you. I'll be that. I'll be that. My second name must be He Ain't Shit, 'cause every time I'm in the car, bitches be like, He ain't shit. I'll be that. I'll be that. I am nobody important. You're about to be banned up out of here for that. In fact, you know what, dude? Take a timeout for that attempted like movie villain entrance up in here. That was fucking real lame. Yeah, critters are sleeping. Well, Dinor is anyway. I don't know about Cricket. Cricket's probably on the prowl, to be honest with you. lot of people on the internet who label people different things probably don't know the meaning of those labels. Yeah. You think? You think so? You think a lot of people listen to people that they perceive as smarter and more charismatic than them, and then take their arguments and run with them without fundamentally challenging or understanding them? Is that what you're alleging? Holy fuck! You just changed my whole perspective on the internet. Terms lose meaning so quickly nowadays with how fast they get overused. They almost become memes. Yeah. Tanky has already ceased to mean anything, and it's now joined the litany of words and terms that mean I disagree with you. People have such a fundamental problem saying I disagree with you. They have to find a label to throw at somebody to delegitimize them further and give them a reason to disagree. Typically because they don't have a reason to disagree. They haven't formulated one yet. Economos Hungas. They also refuse to try and find common ground to find a solution, and then scream at you and say you won't compromise. Yeah. Or they ask for citations. This is one of my favorite things. They'll go like, "Can you give me some citations of anything like you're proposing ever working?" And my standard answer is no, because people like you prevent us from ever trying it. Because you're convinced that doing what your parents and grandparents did is the best thing you can do. So no, I don't have any citations of leftists taking radical political action and choosing to not support the DNC. Because people like you gatekeep it and keep it from happening. That's a good one. That's a good one. Paul, I don't want to sound condescending, but feel like this is very emotionally draining. Maybe it's just me. I hope you're taking care of yourself. No. It's fine. I mean, look, this is my job. I appreciate it, but it's what I do for a living. You know what I mean? I can't really dwell too much on self-care, but I'm fine. I do fine. I mean, it should be emotionally draining. Living in the society is emotionally draining. Thinking about just a fraction of the suffering that's going on right now at this moment in your present is emotionally draining. Listening to smart people make dumb arguments is emotionally draining. Watching generation after generation fall down the hole of lesser of two evilism and electoralism is emotionally draining. Watching leftists turn into centrists and corporatists is emotionally draining. It is. Living in this society is emotionally draining. Worrying about where your next paycheck is going to come from is emotionally draining. It just is, man. It's not just me, it's everybody. I'm a guy that talks about it a lot, but that doesn't mean that it's any more emotionally draining for me than it is for your average person in this country. It just is. I have a simple standard. If you vote for and buy the merchandise of right-wing war criminals like Biden, you're not a leftist. Well, that's fine. I think that's fair. It's overwhelming. Yeah, it is. But we have to try, right? We have to try and parse it somehow as human beings. It's either that or just go belly up like people accused me of doing years ago, even though I probably have spent more time talking politics and efficacy and tactics and leftism than your average 6 of my critics put together. But I'm the do-nothing. I'm the lazy one. I'm the one that wants to just rest on my laurels. It is. It's emotionally draining. It sucks to see. And that's something that like really is driving my current positions on things, is like I'm really like crushed watching yet another generation of vibrant, young, passionate leftists march right down the hole of fucking liberalism. Right down the fucking hole of liberalism. I watched my generation go down that hole. I watched the generation that came directly after me go down that hole, and now I'm watching the Zoomers be funneled right into the hole. I know centrists who told me their reasoning for voting Biden, and the funny thing is it's nearly identical to mainstream leftist rhetoric. Of course it is. Because mainstream leftism doesn't know how to be anything but centrist, because the constant cyclical reduced expectations of lesser of two evil voting has gutted the left to the point where even the most fucking the people that are considered to be the most revolutionary and outside the box among us are centrists, advocating for centrist political action, making excuses for centrist politicians. The absolute state of the left in America. People will unironically look at you and say, well, what's your plan? And you give it to them. They pick it apart, and then you say, all right, well, what's yours? And they say, well, I don't have a plan. Unironically. TJ said it today. Fucking grilled me. You don't have a plan. No, you don't. No, you don't. Gave him the plan. Spent about fucking half an hour shitting on it. And then I asked him, well, what's your plan? I don't have a plan. Check and mate? But until somebody that isn't me comes along and gives me a plan whose parameters I won't identify to you as acceptable, then we just keep doing the nothing. It's just like, okay, good plan, bro. Seems to be working out great as the world burns. I don't like your plan, and the thing is, I don't even have one. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much. If you call out their facts, you'll be demonized. You must join a team. Yes. You got to take our fucking take. You don't even vote, bro, so I don't listen to you. There's no reason to listen to Paul. He doesn't even vote. Now Paul votes. He just doesn't vote the way you want him to vote. Oh, well, no, Paul's not voting right. Now you want to look over my shoulder in the fucking voting booth. The goalposts just continuously fucking moving. It's over here, it's over there. Why am I wrong today? It's because I don't vote. Oh shit, I do vote? Why am I wrong now? Just because I'm wrong. Well, what's your counter argument? I don't have one. What's your fucking plan? I don't have one. And then 200 comments of Paul's a dumbass in the chat. 100% lib cope happening just because I fucking put this idea out there. See, I had a feeling that this shit was gonna be like frightening to libs, but I didn't know how immediately effective it was gonna be. The people that have been exposed to this, that sit on the fucking centrist fence, are scared shitless of this fucking idea. Absolutely fucking shitless of this idea. Go read the fucking comments on that shit. The fear is palpable. They're scared shitless that this might catch on, even in a small way. DFF is a tough crowd. I wouldn't have it any other way. It's a great barometer for me. It really is. Hashtag no confidence indeed. But would TJ be afraid of it where it would benefit him in the long run? He's afraid of it because it implies direct action is coming. It implies that people are giving up on the panacea and the false comfort of lesser of two evilism and constant cyclical election of our own oppressors. And they're starting to look at actual direct action. You know that shit that he and Vosh and every other fucking lefty lib on YouTube argued that they needed to do after Biden? Well, it's 90 some odd days into the Biden administration, and I've seen not one piece of direct action from any of those fucking people. Just ass padding. Just ass padding and finding ways to parse Biden's failure into fucking more positive, glowing terms. Finding more ways to make excuses for libs and fake leftists. I haven't seen a single piece of direct action out of the people that were fucking saying that was 100% their idea, 90 days in. Bully Biden in direct action after he gets elected, y'all, and I've seen them do nothing but make excuses for him. Where's the direct action? I think we all knew it was never coming, and it never does come. That's the problem. 90 days and counting, and Biden has fucking done functionally nothing for the people that you claim to represent and care about. Where's the bullying? Where's the leftism? Where's the direct action? Where's the fundraisers? You know, Vosh holds a fundraiser every goddamn night for Vosh. How about doing a week of streaming where you give all that money to a mutual aid organization, Vosh? No? Of course I said it would never come. I was talking before this election that this magical moment when Biden gets elected and then everybody starts bullying him and like instantly fucking participating in a bunch of direct action and shit and using the momentum was never going to come. And here we are, 90 days into the administration and a bunch of fucking walkbacks. And everybody, all those same people are making excuses for him, talking about how he exceeded expectations. See? Was apparent because they never explained how they'd go about doing that. Never explained how they'd go about doing it, nor did they ever make any actual hard commitments to do anything. Remember, it was never like, I'm going to take this direct action. As soon as Biden is elected, I'm going to start donating to this mutual aid org. I'm going to start running a monthly fucking charitable donation stream for candidates that support Medicare for all, and I'm going to start bullying Biden and pretty much anybody that doesn't fucking, and it never came to be. There was never an intention to do it. It was always about doing the easy thing, showing up, voting for the shit lib, claiming you did something good, and then kicking back and fucking on the Republicans for another 2 to 4 years, till the next cycle comes around. Then you kick the football again. You know how I know that? I've lived it for 41 years. This was not some shocking thing to me to hear leftists, quote unquote leftists, say like, let's just suck it up and do it this time, and then as soon as this fucking guy's in office, we're gonna tear the DNC down. You guys remember the fucking fat brown buffalo saying that in 2016? We're at war with the DNC. They are a tragic failure. Now look at him, cupping the balls and stroking the shaft of the DNC. It never happens. It never materializes. All this fucking fiery rhetoric about how everybody's going to jump in and start participating just never comes, because that was never the point in the first place. It was all about making an excuse for sitting on your ass and doing nothing. The very self-same thing that I'm accused of. It was all about being a fake leftist, taking no action. %. Look how quickly they turned on Bernie. Look how quickly all of these people that I'm talking about, by the way, were quote unquote Bernie supporters. Look how quickly they were like, well, he didn't have the votes, Biden. Like months before the election, without extracting a single concession. Even if they intended the entire time to eventually vote for whoever the fucking liberal candidate was, they could have at least withheld that fucking publicly and put a little pressure on Biden to make concessions. But they didn't. They went out and bought his merch immediately. Started making memes of him licking ice cream and shit, trying to make him look cool. That's the direct action that happened. They directly helped Joe Biden legitimately get elected as president of the United States, and they legitimately helped him change nothing, actually make things worse in certain areas. That's what they did. That's the outcome of all of that energy in the lead up to the fucking 2020 election. Where's the direct action, you bitches? Well, I'm not as big as some of these fucking people, but I'm going to start calling for it. Donate to your mutual aid orgs. Take that money that you would have thrown down the fucking toilet of the DNC, give it to an animal shelter locally. Give it to a homeless shelter or a food bank locally. Give it to a fucking, your local fucking regional chapter of BLM. Use it to support people that are currently fucking protesting. Or show up on your own if you can. I knew it was going to be Joe. That man paid his dues to the club for years, of course. As soon as, like, you can go back and look at it. On DFF back in like 2018, when the candidates were first announced and shit, 2018, 2019, whenever it was, we did a show looking at the big giant fucking clown car of like 24 fucking candidates. And we all talked about who we thought it was. And both of the guys picked somebody else, and I picked Joe Biden. And they went like, nah, no fucking way, no fucking way. And I was like, he's the most establishment fucking candidate on the list. There's no way he's not going to be the nominee. No, man. Nobody fucking even likes Joe Biden, blah, blah, blah. And here he is. Here he is. The very same people voted for him. But for some reason, I'm wrong still. Even though everything I say is going to come to pass, comes to pass, I'm wrong. Paul has to be wrong, right? Paul has to be wrong. He has to be wrong. He's right on this. He was right on this. He was right on this. He's right on this. Right on AOC. Right on Biden. Right on the fucking shit libs going back to brunch. Right on the fact that Bully Biden was never intended. Right on the fact that no direct action was ever intended. But you know what? He has to be wrong. Something in there is flawed. He's right, but for the wrong reasons. Don't you love it? I know I do. I know I love it. Oh, man. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this. Thank you guys for chilling tonight, and I'll see you next time. Bye.